Today I'm going to explain why I'm not acoustically treating the new studio. These aren't acoustic panels, they're just ridiculous paintings. When sound designing, mixing or mastering, when I want to hear exactly what's in the audio file, I use headphones. I could talk about the physics of comb filtering and other sciencey descriptions of how the room changes the sound we hear from the speakers, but simpler just to think about anechoic chambers. You'd have to build one of these mad rooms with a floating mesh floor if you wanted to completely remove the influence of the room on what you hear. This is why experts talk about controlling reverb with acoustic treatment rather than eliminating it. Headphones are also more accurate with regards to things like total harmonic distortion. These monitors claim THD less than 0.6, whereas these headphones claim THD less than 0.05. And to everyone that says you can't mix or make stereo imaging decisions using headphones, you're wrong. Yes, stereo imaging techniques sound very different in headphones compared to monitors, but stereo imaging techniques sound very different in monitors compared to everywhere else. People listen in the car, at the club, using TV soundbars, laptop speakers, iPad speakers, and so on and so on and so on. And each of these playback scenarios reproduces stereo imaging decisions in completely different ways. So no matter what you mix on, you'll have to mentally translate what you're hearing to imagine how it will sound in other playback situations. Not to mention, more people listen on headphones than any other single type of speaker. So the headphone's stereo image isn't, in some sense, incorrect. Stereo effects are valid on any playback device that an end user will use. Speaking of effects, let me quickly introduce today's sponsor, LANDR FX. LANDR FX is 5 plugins, each plugin a combination of effects designed specifically for the name of the plugin. So voice contains presets that work great on the voice. 7-day free trial, no credit card required. I'll tell you more and show you some examples later on. Back to the video. The problems with headphones, however, especially studio headphones, is that they aren't very fun. Firstly, it can be distracting to hear all the details. Hearing a crackle in a vocal or distortion in a synth preset can be distracting. Hearing all the details can make it hard to decide if the sound is right or wrong for the song. And more broadly, music doesn't have the same emotional impact through headphones compared to monitors. I don't know exactly why, but everyone agrees that most music is less enjoyable in headphones. Sure, sometimes the magic of a song is in hearing the room the band was recorded in, and for songs like that, headphones provide a better listening experience. But that's an exception. Almost everything is less enjoyable in headphones, so you can find yourself cleaning up a bass preset without experiencing the emotional impact of the bass line as a whole. In other words, monitors have their role, and for me, that's songwriting and listening for fun. And so when songwriting and listening for fun, why don't I acoustically treat the room? A few reasons. First of all, when listening for fun, I disagree with the notion that we should hear the track with as little distortion and reverb as possible. Most artists won't want me listening to their songs on HD 650s because my stupid brain picks up on all the limiting artifacts and other distortions that weren't intended by the artist. One of the fundamental axioms of the audiophile world and hi-fi industry is clean and accurate is how the artist intended. Definitely not. A banging techno track is intended to be heard somewhere like this, through giant speakers at 3 a.m. When I used to release music, I never used to think, geez, I sure wish someone spent $3,000 on some fancy headphones and a fancy DAC so they can hear all the details in the audio file that I can't hear. I simply thought, I hope their speakers can play sub-bass, that'll help. And I hope they turn up the volume because then they'll enjoy it more. More importantly though, do I enjoy listening to music more in an acoustically treated room? That's the real question, fundamentally. So I tested it, using some acoustic sound blankets I bought, precariously hung from cheap and wobbly light stands. Some songs sounded slightly better, some songs slightly worse. Predictably, genres that are mixed and mastered rather dry with respect to reverb, like tech house, sounded better without acoustic treatment, and genres with busy mixes drenched in reverb sounded better with acoustic treatment. On average, treatment made no difference at all to my enjoyment of the music, and that's all I use monitors for, listening for fun. I use headphones to hear the details. So since acoustic treatment made the experience neither better nor worse, my decision came down to aesthetics. How does it look in the room, to me personally? I should have probably considered how it looks on these sorts of videos, but I didn't. It was, what do I think? I'm at a point in my career when I get more inspired by these paintings I made than by a room filled with foam panels and bass traps. They may be ridiculous, but I love the colour and creative energy it brings to the room. And no, I couldn't wrap the paintings over acoustic panels because sound would just bounce off the paint surface. You have to wrap panels using a permeable material so the air can go through. Early in my career, acoustic foam was more inspiring, and the psychological benefit is totally worth it to most people. If my space was bigger, then maybe I'd consider some panels for the aesthetic, but my current room is tiny, about 3 meters by 3 meters roughly, so filling it with acoustic treatment would make it feel rather claustrophobic. Okay, yes, when recording voiceover, which I do about once a week, as I'm doing right now, I hang these sound blankets as temporary acoustic treatment. I'll show you before and after. Monkeys, monkeys, oscillators, wavetables. Monkeys, monkeys, oscillators, wavetables. It's not that we need to remove all room reverb when recording vocals, it's just that too much room reverb can make the voice less intelligible. And given all the flaws with my voice naturally, I have to do everything possible to maximize intelligibility. I must admit, it's a bit of it's a giant headache to hang these things. It's surprising how heavy these sound blankets are. My current mounting solution is super janky, very wobbly, but I only have to record once a week, and I love not having my room filled with acoustic foam for the 6.5 days a week I don't need it. Yes, that's a 2.4 meter long table in a 3 meter room. Yes, I know. Multiply the madman. Whilst you can use moving blankets, I got some fancy acoustic sound blankets from a company called Vocal Booth to Go. This video isn't sponsored by them. This video is sponsored by LANDR FX. How about that for a segue? Each plugin 50 meticulously crafted presets. Presets designed by Grammy Award-winning engineers. They essentially distill a long series of effects into a single parameter, so you can focus on how it sounds and not worry about the details. If you struggle with choice paralysis, it's a great idea, but you should really try yourself, which you can do for free. There's a 7-day free trial with no credit card required.
Wanna feel how fast my heart would beat. Wanna feel how fast my heart would beat.
Marvellous. If you use the link in the description below, LANDR will know I've sent you, but otherwise you can totally get there using Google. See you in the next one.